And we are live.
Hello, hello, Rachel. Hello,
Hello.
everyone.
It's so funny. I wasn't on much Facebook and Instagram for a while, and now I'm like, it goes in spurts for me, you know. So today I am like, I'm going to say, I am absolutely over the moon that I can invite people to this baby. Business done different. Yeah. Yeah. It's a 3-day class, 137 pages of content that I would say, Kalina, I'm still only absorbing. You know, I certainly haven't absorbed all of the information in this book. And Kalina, what's occurring next? What's being created Tuesday, the 22nd of April?
So, we have 10 weeks of that class online, actually. Woo! It
I
will
know.
be every Tuesday, and we're going to be able to go through a lot of those tools. And I love that this is a format of 10 weeks because what I have found for myself when a class is over the weeks, then you can actually go through the manual, start using the tools, things are coming up for you, and then you come back to the class and you can ask your questions and you see how much things change actually from week one
Mm,
to the end. And then you obviously have the recordings, you have the manual and all the tools, and then you can continue using that and referencing whenever it pings.
mm.
And we were just talking that a friend of mine took that class and she was like, I want to study that manual. It's so
Yeah.
good.
So good. And it's so funny. Thank you for what you said. I had a friend of mine who I dearly love in Poland today, and someone had pushed a lot of judgment in her world, you know. Judgment is right, this is wrong, this is good, this is bad. And one of the things that can really affect people or stop people in business when they're not educated and they don't have information is when someone pushes the judgment in your world, don't stop, actually turn up your business even more. You know, most of us, when we've been exposed to judgment, we go to compress and reject what the person is delivering. And so when you are creating business, you've got to be an allowance that people will judge you. And there's a tool in the manual which says every time you receive a judgment, you make $5,000 more that year. So the business done different, education, information over 10 weeks. So if you did meet yourself in a place where you're stuck, that you can come in and be with me, the facilitator, which means to render business with ease, you know. And you're on another program that's a 6-month program, and you're already like you're showing. Yeah, I know.
So much has changed. I was just looking at that like some seconds ago. It's like where I was when I started that program in beginning of January and where I am currently and just tapping into what has that created for my life and living. Like it just has put me on a totally different trajectory just by that choice and like being with you every week in different way.
Mm.
Um, and just exploring and having you to ask questions and that you contribute to me has been amazing.
And the other thing as well, like just very simple things like what do you value about, like what do you value in business? You know, when I asked you only like recently, what's valuable for you, and you were like honor, vulnerability, you know, these are the elements of intimacy that we talk about in access consciousness. And so when you got clear on what you valued, it allowed you to have way more confidence in you, and then your business started to grow, of course, because you're very clear on what you want to create. And what I would say for most people is they're not really clear. In other words, they haven't got the awareness or got there yet in what they want to create and having the clarity. And then I would say going forward and having that and asking for that, because this joy business done different is about ask and receive, is like it's one of the laws of the universe, and we don't ask for more. How come we don't ask for more, Kalina?
Is who teaches that you can be asking for more and that it is okay to ask for more? How many of us have been actually put down when we have been little kids and asking for something, and then like, oh, you can't have that. It was like, oh, when I grow up, I want to have a yacht. Yeah, yeah. Like you wouldn't have that. Like
Or you don't
so.
need that. But I know
Oh,
I don't need it, but just because I don't need it doesn't mean that I would like to have that or experience that, you know?
yeah.
And what you said, a lot of us have been diminished in regard to asking. So then we'll meet ourselves in places where someone will say, hey, you can ask for more people in your classes, you can ask for more money in your business, you can ask for to enjoy your business more. You know, you can ask to include your body in your business. You can ask for people who are willing to grow your business, be your cheerleaders. And so this asking and then the receiving, which is like
Yes. Because receiving doesn't show up the way we think it does. Like
ever,
yeah.
ever.
So often we ask and then like it shows up totally different. But when you get present into, is this what I've been asking for? Showing up in a totally different way. It's like, wow, yes. And you can remember, oh, I asked for this like yesterday or 2 years ago. Is the universe doesn't have this timeline that we say is like, okay, if I ask today and for example $1 million doesn't show up tomorrow, like then nothing is happening. Like no.
No, keep going. And I see people, I mean, one of the things that we talk about in this book is actually being a conscious leader, where there's nothing to fix, nothing is wrong, there's only something to choose. And for me, it's not like a short-term game. I am going to say this. Building your life, building your living, because it's like, what if business was the adventure of living? Yeah, and it is for me. I get to meet you next Friday. We get to hang out. You know, this is our second time. And so it's like, it's really getting present with what do you want to have as your living? And then your business, the way that you work, the way you generate, what would you like to create? And then really knowing that you're the valuable product and being unashamedly you. And this is me. This is what I believe in. This is what's true for me. And then really valuing your product, which seems to be sometimes challenging for people to really honor their worth and their contribution, you know. Um, and we've been trained to not honor us what we can contribute. And so it turns everything in your world. And the question is, are you a contribution? Can you contribute? Can your business, can your service contribute to people's needs, their demands? Have you got something that you are capable of that nobody else in the world is? What is your unique genius? And then going about developing that. And it does require courage. It does require presence. It does require choice. And so it's a big class, the education, the information, the growth, what it can gift you. And it's just like, it's receiving the contribution that everyone can be to you and just going. And I'd love to invite people to be with me for 10 weeks. And also on it from a choice podium place, it's saying, actually, I am going to commit to having what I would like to bring to the world. Because a lot of people, they give up on it because somebody said, oh, you can't do business, or you're not tough enough for business, which was someone I love was told this, you're not tough enough for business. Actually, that's BS. Like, yes, you're required to be strong, but that doesn't mean that you have to be tough and hard, you know? I would say business for me is about the development of capacities, abilities, and my ability to contribute.
I so love that. And it just opens up such a different space. And with all of those tools, like it doesn't, whether you have a business or don't have a business, you're thinking about it, whether you work in corporate or not, regardless of what you're doing, those tools are actually a contribution for creating your living. Um, and just what you said about your business and your life and living, how everything is interconnected. So like when we work in one area, like we address, we clear and shift and change, and everything else can actually shift and change as well without us necessarily focusing on that. It just we change and yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Thank you so much for saying this. I mean, I would not have ever thought 13 years ago that I would be going to Canada, facilitating a 3-day body class, facilitating business classes from Taiwan, from Japan to Canada to Brazil. So when you enter into where can I go to balance the earth and where can I go to contribute, there's something like magical occurs beyond all cognitive dissonance trying to figure things out. And so by asking like, who can I contribute to? What is business to me? Business to me, of course, includes making lots of money. Of course, it includes my body. Of course, it includes meeting people. Of course, it includes the planet, you know? And so it's just a beautiful education. And 12 years ago, I took my first class, and the information of that class is still gifted to me today. Yeah. Yeah.
amazing. Yeah. So everyone, if this is something that speaks to you, like we're gonna share the links. We start on April 22nd for 10 weeks every Tuesday.
Yeah, yeah. And the other thing in this is people have been exposed to other people's points of views about business. Oh, where I grew up, we don't do business here, you know, that's for the other side of town, or men in suits, or it also, the class also massively supports you to let go of the points of views that are not allowing you to find your reality with business and develop that for you. And I would say that's the big thing for me. You know, business doesn't look like a man in a suit. Of course, a man in a suit can. It's all energies, you know. It's the farmer feeding his lamb and his, you know, his cattle today, his heifers. It's so diverse. It's a spectrum of realities. And so if you didn't have to define it, what would you choose? And what would you choose if you knew you couldn't fail?
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. Thanks for being here and thanks for being such a contribution. And we hope this Joy Business conversation contributes to you. And check out joybusiness.com and check out, there's a beautiful book that Kalina has as well. This book changed my life. I actually was saying to a friend yesterday, I'm going to get her a copy because she has a new business that's starting. It is tools, the pragmatic tools that you can use to create your business, to create your life. It is gold. And all of business comes to us with ease and joy and glory. And all of money, one of the heaviest topics on our planet right now, due to what's going on globally, all of money comes to us with ease and joy and glory. These are the tools of Access Consciousness and Joy Business. And come join us if this is something that you know you require to develop to have what you desire to create. Beautiful. Thanks so much, Kalina.
Thank you, Rachel.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Happy, I forgot what day it is. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Bye.
Bye.